Interesting. My sync seems to be way off again, and I've been fighting with this all the time. So let me take a moment, and I'm going to my outputs. I'm going to do a quick refresh, so my camera is actually going to go away, and then it will come back. Ready, set, yes. Alrighty. Well, that's weird. I am in a new location, and I don't know which camera to look at. I am in a new location. I am on a trip, and I am trying a completely new setup. And one of the interesting things is I have had a whole litany of things going on trying to get set up. So you can see my green screen. It's actually not just a green screen. It's actually just attached to the back of my chair. I'm not in the studio today. But thank you all for being here. And as always, welcome to everyone for being here. And I always love to know, where is everyone watching from today? If the sync is really off for you as well, let me know. If it's on, let me know it's on, because when I tried to listen to the headphones, it was a little bit off, and I don't know why. Yeah, it's like a half second behind. And the reason why I went away is because I actually rebooted vMix, which is what I'm using to produce today's show. So vMix is now fresh back into the computer, and it's not vMix. So yeah, it's a really weird thing I've been fighting with for 2 days trying to get this show set up. Anyway, let me know what streaming questions you might have, and I'll do my best to answer them. And as always, I love to say hello to everyone watching. We have the McGee Academy of Arts and Sciences in Pico Riviera, California. Glenn says it's out of sync. Yes, and I really don't know what it would take to get it to be in sync, because I already rebooted vMix, which is the tool that's bringing in all of this. So when I edit this for the show, I will put it back in sync. Green Boater says the sync is good, getting better. Yeah, it's really weird. It floats in and out, and it actually doesn't get consistently worse. It only gets to about a half second, and then it'll get a little better, then it'll get a little worse, then it'll get a little better. Yeah, it's a weird one. And today we're going to be talking about the OBSBOT Meet. Is that backwards to you? Yeah, that is probably backwards to you. No, that should be right. We're going to be talking about the OBSBOT Meet, which is, yeah, that one. We're going to be talking about the OBSBOT Meet cameras. These little, available in 3 cool colors: gray, white, and this greenish color, which is pretty cool. And we're going to be talking about those. I have one hooked up already, and we'll also do an unboxing. And for full disclosure, they are not paying for this. This is not sponsored, but they have provided these for demonstration and testing in today's show. Interestingly enough, I've taken that one out, and I've checked this one already, and they are packaged differently. So I think I was provided Amazon returns, so for whatever that's worth. So the packaging you see here is not full regular retail packaging, because in one case the camera was wrapped and I had to unseal, or the little holder was wrapped and I had to unseal it. In the other case, it was not. And I'm pretty sure when they package these things in the factory, they are not saying, hey, let's wrap this one and let's not wrap that one. So but if you have streaming questions that are not related to the OBSBOT Meet cameras, throw them into the comments. I have all the comments coming in from Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch. However, I tried to write on LinkedIn and it didn't work. For whatever reason, whenever I try to make a comment on my own video in LinkedIn, it will not post. So whatever. We also have the Green Boater chiming in from Vancouver, Canada, eh? Cool, thank you for being there. And we have the Andreas watching from Greece. Actually, you are the second Greece because we also have, I can't even read it, Messina Live, Greece. From Kalamata, Greece. So I've got two from Greece today. And they're in the same time zone as me. It's 6 o'clock at night, so it's dark outside. PVE is in Seal Beach, California. And LA12 Livestreams is in the Lake District in the United Kingdom. They're 1 hour behind me. And Glenn is in the Manchester, United Kingdom. So hey, I've got some pretty good EU representation today, but nobody from Africa. That's pretty rare. Normally have like one from Africa, or at least two, more from the U.S. across the U.S. But anyway, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all being here, and I am excited for today's show. I actually packed these with me on the plane to come over here, so I could do a showcase show here on my trip. So let's see. We actually had a question come in. Glenn, that was me responding. He asked, no, that's me. I'll get there eventually. What is your favorite go-to mobile streaming device at the moment? Like right now, I'm working on an Intel Nook computer. It's a little computer like this big. And I'm using every USB port in it, and I'll probably add a couple more. I've got an ATEM out here acting as my interface for my desk camera. And that's because the USB interface that I had running there stopped working yesterday. Just stopped working. And I have a webcam that I was going to use that worked all the time I was here 2 months ago. That stopped working. It's a good thing I had a Logitech. So right now I'm talking to you on a Logitech C950. The good old stalwart Logitech camera. That's going to be our comparison. So if you were during COVID and the Logitech was the camera to get, but now these things are basically really offering a lot of capability for more money, mind you, but they are offering a lot more capability, and we're going to take a look at that. So the question, what is my favorite go-to mobile streaming device? And he clarifies YOLObox series or Magewell Director series. Magewell has two devices that are essentially the same with a couple port differences and things like that. And YOLO has a whole range of devices from a single HDMI input mini to vertical devices to the Pro, which is getting an update, and the Ultra, which is 4K, and the Extreme, which is 4K with 8 inputs, but not all are 4K. Anyway, so which is my favorite? When you ask, there it goes. I'm using Restream to do all the comments. That's how I can see all the comments from all the different things. What is your favorite go-to mobile streaming device at the moment? If I had to do 4K, it would be a YOLObox because the Magewell doesn't do 4K currently. If you watch this after next year's NAB, the answer might be different. But right now, the Magewell does not do 4K. So if you wanted to do 4K or produce in 4K, capture devices in 4K, record ISOs in 4K, and then stream in HD, the answer is still going to be YOLObox. If you wanted to have 8 inputs, the answer is going to be YOLObox. If you wanted to have a big-ass 11-inch screen, which I did, if you go back in my live shows, I did a live show from the Production Expo in Texas, and I used a mobile streaming device, and I went with the YOLObox Extreme because I had 2 program outputs, it had all those extra inputs, I was doing comments on the same device. So having the big screen for me helped a lot. And then I also handed the keypad, the YOLO deck, over to a second producer and gave them a multi-view monitor. So if I'm just talking, he could do the switching. So we had 2 people producing. Very cool. And then I had another monitor output with program just for people who were, being talked to. So if they held up a product, they could actually see it on the monitor in front of them and know where to hold it. So it really did pay off having all that capability in one box. If I were to go with something that did not have internal batteries, that would be the Magewell, because the Magewell can take external batteries and you can swap them off as you go. If I wanted to use phones as cameras, that would be the Magewell, because they have that capability in the device. If I wanted to hand off tasks, have somebody do audio mixing, have somebody else do graphics, have somebody else do comments and things like that, that would be the Magewell. Or OBSBOT Talent. So it really comes down to not what you want, which one's better. It comes down to what you need to do with it. What the surrounding situations are. I admit I'm kind of lucky in that I've reviewed both units, so I have demos of both units, so I can pick and choose, and I have picked different units at different times. So there's not one perfect tool, and so you come down to picking the right tool for the job. It's like picking what's the best camera. Depends on what you want to do. If I was going to do a church installation, I would not use a webcam. Not even this brand new one. So with the Nook, how do you monitor the video? I have a big 4K monitor in front of me. And on this 4K monitor, I have Restream running in the window. I have vMix running in the window. I have my CPU monitor running in the window. I am at 70% right now. And I have another window set up just so that if you were so inclined to find out more about what is going on with StreamTek, I have this window set up so that I can show you, hey, you can go to the StreamTek YouTube channel and see all of these different videos. And like I was saying, the live shows, every live show becomes an edited show. So if you wanted to see that show, you scroll down to the Texas Production Expo right here. So that show that's playing right over there, that show is where I used the YOLOBox Extreme on location, and I did the show from the show floor. I did my live show for over 2 hours from that expo floor. And I used the Extreme, so you can actually check it out there. And then I think I actually did a show about doing that show. So let's check, and then we can YOLOBoxes. Actually, I know where I wrote about it. If you go to Streaming Media Magazine, over here, you will find my review of the YOLOBox Extreme. And in that review, I talk about how I used it for the Texas Production Expo. Over next to that, you can find reviews of multiple devices, the Epiphan Pearl, the SignTreek, and a couple other all-in-one live streaming production devices are there. Then there's the update for the Director Mini and a review of the Blackmagic Design Micro Studio camera. You can find all that at streamingmedia.com. And lastly, if you wanted to write to me and get some direct consulting, you can go to streamtek.us. So that's one of the windows I have on my 4K screen. So thanks for the question. The Green Boater asks, am I using a physical switcher or all-in software? As I mentioned in the opening, I am using a Blackmagic A10 Mini, but I am literally just using it for ingest of this camera, since the USB device that I was using stopped working. Just yesterday I was setting up, and then all of a sudden it decided it wasn't going to work anymore. So the camera I had used last time I was here stopped working. The external HDMI input device stopped working, and I'm having this weird audio fluctuation. So it's a crazy show. Andreas chimes in and says, the OBSBOT Talent without internet bonding, use YOLOBox Meet. They're both tools, and they both have bonding available. On the Magewell, it's done through Speedify. On the YOLO box, it's done through YOLO, offers their own bonding packages. So they both offer bonding of both internal cellular, Wi-Fi, and a USB modem. So you can do that on both devices. And to get back to this question, I am using software to do the switching, and I have it all programmed on my StreamTek. So I am using vMix today, and vMix is actually outputting to Restream, which is going to 5 different destinations and then collecting all of those comments into one column for me, something I can't do in vMix. So different tools for different tasks, as we mentioned in the beginning. But thank you very much for those questions. If anyone who has joined late, I'm just going to say again, hello everyone, and I always love to know where everyone is watching from, so if you haven't already chimed in, feel free to throw it into the comments. And I will be talking about the OBSBOT Meet 2 cameras today, but feel free to throw whatever streaming question you have if it's not too much of a divergence from the topic at hand. I will do my best to answer. And unlike AI, we'll give it 20 years of experience and production experience, and I will give you those answers. And I will not make up something on the fly, and I'm not going to hallucinate and give you the wrong answer and pretend it's right. So if I don't know something, I'm just going to tell you I don't know. I hope that's worth it to you. Alrighty, so let me take that one out. Wish there was just a clear thing. Restream would just fade those comments out after like 10 seconds. Just fade it away. That would be great. I've asked for that for over a year now. Hasn't happened. But they have added many other features I have asked for. And so I will take a moment and say, if you are interested in trying Restream, I've also partnered with them, and we have an affiliate. So if you want to try Restream, you can use this link, get a discount. You can try it for free with the free account. Or if you want to try one of the professional accounts or something like that, you can try it for 7 days and then get your money back if it's not what you want. It is an all-in-one live streaming solution. You can bring in multiple cameras. You can do cool animated graphics like this. I can go to multiple destinations. I can bring in comments from all those destinations. I have multiple scenes. So if I want to take this out, I have a scene with this on it, and I have a scene without it on it, and the pre-show scene, which was me with the little crawl. So these are different scenes that I have set up in Restream that I'm cutting between in Restream. You can bring in remote guests from around the world, as many as your plan allows, and artwork, backgrounds, video playback, video recording. It just goes on and on. So if you are interested in checking out Restream, you can use your little phone and point at the QR code, or type in bit.ly/st-restream for StreamTek Restream. So that's my little affiliate code. And that'll take you to the try it out page on Restream. So give that a shot if you are so inclined. I will go here to the scene, and I will take that off, and I will go down to the chat. Another comment came in. All right. Wolfgang says, it is amazing what these small cameras can do. It makes them flexible for a wide variety of setup applications. It is. And thank you for taking it back to the topic at hand. So let us get started. Right here, the OBSBOT Meet 2. Now, this is the second generation of their camera. These have been out for well over a year. They've been around. The Meet 2 is 4K. They also have a Meet SE that is HD. And I have to say, when I opened this box, the first thing I said to myself was, dang, this is small. So let's open this box. This is a special overlay for the Esports World Cup. They're proud of the fact that their cameras are being used in the Esports World Cup. So you open this up, you get like a little booklet in here with dozens of languages, and each language is only a couple pages, so you don't have to learn a lot. And then here's your little foot thing that goes on top of your monitor. So it's got the little lip to go over the front and over the back, and then you can tilt it down like this. And like I says, in the other package that I opened already, this was sealed. In this package, it was not. So do not take the way this is packaged as how a new unit will be shipped. I think these, for the case of review, I was sent either review units were passed along, which is very common, or these are Amazon refurbs, or I don't know, whatever. So it comes with a little lens cap, which is very cool. I mean, you can get another camera like the Mevo. Mevo just leaves its lens exposed. There's nothing you can do to cover that. There's nothing you can clip in. There's no magnet. It even includes a little flange over the front, so you can't even like make a cap because the plastic comes out. I don't get that at all, you know. So you've got this little flange coming out over the front here that makes it hard to put anything on here. Whereas the OBSBOT comes, and it comes with a lens cap. It's magnetic, so it just sticks right on there. Very cool. And then peel that off. Actually, this one came without one. I just put it on there from the other one, just to let you know that's how it would come. And then you got 4 things in the 4 corners here. You got the logo. You got a little LED to let you know it's on, like I can tell the other one's on. And then you got 2 microphones down the bottom, aiming in the direction of the camera. I mean, it seems obvious you would aim the microphone in the direction the camera is pointing. But then again, you look at the Mevo, there's no microphone in front. The microphones are on top. I never understood that. I just never understood that. But anyway, I digress. So going back to the Meet, you have a lens. It's not, you know, you're not going. There's no focus ring. It's a very simple webcam. Nothing on the left, nothing on the right, nothing on the top. But on the bottom, you got a 1/4-20 and some information. And on the back, USB-C. The one thing you do not have on here is a microphone plug. So if you wanted to plug in a lavalier or something like that, you're going to need your own audio interface separate from the cameras. You know, because if you were doing something like, if you were using Restream like I am, you can actually tell it to use another microphone source or vMix. You know, you can say, use the audio from this plug-in over here and use the video from this, which is what I'm doing now. I'm using a microphone on the table that's going into the A10 Mini, which is being handled in vMix, but the camera is a webcam, so I'm not using the microphones in the Logitech. This is a desk mic. And so this is the little camera. This is tiny. This is tiny. This is amazingly tiny. But how does it look? And I can show you. This is how it looks. This is the Logitech. This is the Meet. Ooh. And it's focusing. Wow. Wow. That's almost as fast as the Sony I have in my studio. Being able to say, look at the microphones on this. Look at that. Whoosh. Or look at the USB-C on the back there. Okay? Whoosh. Slow, there it goes. Now let's try it with the Logitech. Now, admittedly, the Logitech is more than 5 years old. Wait for it. No, never mind. I've got this on manual focus. Apologies. Hey, good to see you, Eric. Thanks for coming. And so, yeah, it's not going to focus on here, but here you go. I've got the Sony ZV-1 right here. So let me go, here you go. This is the ZV-1. So if I bring it up really close, come on. Well, there's no fade. There we go. Back. That's the ZV-1, and that's the camera I have in my studio at home, so when I hold stuff up to the camera, it changes focus really fast. And so I am really, look at that. And I have to say, I'm like 6 inches, I'm like 12 centimeters away when I hold this up, and it is racking focus to this thing just fine. Actually creating a pretty nice bokeh in the background. So that is the OBSBOT Meet, and this is only just HD. Remember, these are 4K cameras. I have a white one up here, and that is my Logitech. And down here on the table, I have this gray one. Now, like I says, one of the neat things is it gives you the 1/4-20 on the bottom, but it's also magnetic. So you could just put it on there and use it. Or if you wanted to do vertical, you could do vertical production, just like that. Now, there's no screw thread in this. So if you wanted to mount this on a stand or something like that, you'd still have to screw it in because most stands don't offer magnetic bases. And you can't mount this magnetic base, trying to get it where it shines, you can't mount this magnetic base onto a stand to have it do that. So, but that is pretty handy. So if you have a space where you can just put these down, that works really well. Or if you're doing something horizontal and then, you know, you have it on top of your computer monitor and you're like, oh, you know what? I want to do an Instagram or a TikTok. Boom. You're ready to go. All right, now I got to do a Zoom. All right, now I'm ready to go. So that's pretty handy. There's no light on this one. I know some of the other ones, was it the Elgato came out with one that had a ring light around it. This one, there's no light on this other than this tiny little LED light that just lets you know that it's connected and powered. So that is how that comes. Oh, I should say also, in the box, which would normally be sealed, I would guess, you have a nice long USB cable. USB-C to USB-C with an adapter to go from C to A. And I can do this. Oh, wait, side by side. To go from USB-C to USB-A. Now that I got a really good close-up camera, I can do it up here. Didn't even know that. So this is the whole OBSBOT, and this is the Logitech. Logitech, OBSBOT. So, and other than focus on the Logitech, they're all pretty much defaults. And if I put them side by side, it's interesting that my shirt, if I look at my own shirt, it is a very difficult color apparently for cameras to get. I would say the color of this is actually more correct. Or neither, because it's blue. And on the Logitech, it looks teal. And on the OBSBOT, it looks purple. Tell me what color you see, because what I see here is not reflected in either camera. Go figure that one out. But I have this camera here, and I believe I have. I'm gonna put this on tripod. And I've got another cable set up just for this. There we go. So now that it's powered up, you can see the light. So that's the LED that lights up when it's powered up. Setting up device. We're setting up OBSBOT Meet 2. Well, considering that one's already connected, I don't think you really need to set one up, but whatever. All right. Now, the other really interesting thing to say is, now Logitech has software for like doing a whole production almost with backgrounds and things like that called Capture. But it's not really designed for just tweaking purple on the OBSBOT. Purple on the OBSBOT. Yeah, I see that too. Okay, so you're seeing the same colors I'm seeing on the monitor here. Thank you very much for that. And McGee says blue and purple. So blue is correct. But on my monitor, the left one looks more turquoise. A bluish turquoise, whatever. So thanks for the feedback there. What I have now is I wanted to show you. This is the OBSBOT camera, and this is the software that it comes with. I have running, and this is one of the reasons I went with vMix, is because I had all of these different things set up. So this is the software. So now that you can see, I have a second device plugged in. I have camera 1 and I have Meet 2. Meet 1 or Meet 2 and Meet 2. Oh, you can't see, it's not popping up on your screen? All right. So there's a little drop down that's appearing. This is the one that we're looking at right now. And this one is the one that I just plugged in. So we're just adjusting this one that I have set up. You can see auto exposure is set to off. If I turn it on, it's going to go for the face because I told it to, or you can set it up to global. You can then adjust the compensation. If you feel that's a little bit too bright, you can bring it down in like little increments. And I have to say, this software with these little buttons over here to adjust the brightness. Actually, let me make this a little smaller. See if that'll make it bigger on your screen. Yeah, there we go. I'm faking the software out in real time. There we go. So right here, I'm using the little arrows to bring this up and down. Oh, I see. It's actually cropping off the right. Let's see if I can adjust that. Give me a sec. Layers, OBSBOT. There we go. So these little buttons over here on the right. So with these, I have it down. It goes by third of stops, but you can bring the actual exposure of the camera. You're not making it brighter or darker. You're actually telling the camera to expose for less, which is very different. Because sometimes on some webcams, what you're going to do is you're going to say, oh, no, this is too bright. And then when you tell it to turn it darker, it's actually making the overexposed image darker. It does not actually make the camera expose less. This software is. So if I keep going down, this has gotten considerably darker. So I can bring this back up. I'm one stop below where it thinks it should be. And then I can turn that off. And then I can adjust shutter. Very cool. And ISO. So this granular control, especially if you're going to set up a multi-camera setup and you want it to stay there, is very cool. Let's continue down. Anti-flicker. I'm not seeing any flicker. White balance. Right now I have it not in auto because auto hasn't been the best. Let's go to auto. Little too warm for me. If you go to the side-by-side, I don't know. I think white teeth, white teeth, not white teeth. So I think the auto white balance is a little too warm from the OBSBOT. Maybe a software update will fix that. And then you come down to down here where you get those image adjustments that I was talking about that most all webcams have. So it's like, oh, well, the contrast is too much. Well, you can, lower the contrast. You can increase the contrast. And this is happening to the image after capture. Whereas you come up here, the exposure is adjusting what you capture. Very different. And I'm glad that this software makes those very, very different. You can change the sharpness. Again, these, if you just pop these back into the middle, this is how it comes out of the box. I actually think it's a little too sharp. So, dial that back a little bit because this looked like a little too hyper texturized to me. Let's go to the straight camera. To me, it looks a little too granular. And that's with the very low ISO. So the ISO is not cranked up either. So those are the image controls. And you have a console which will, You know, this software, the OBSBOT Center, this software, the OBSBOT Center, is actually designed to handle a lot of different things. So you're able to handle a gimbal, you know, and adjust gimbal settings. We don't have a gimbal, so we're not going to worry about that. It does have the ability to adjust a crop, so you can crop it in a little bit. And then you can actually have it do auto framing, so that, let's just single close up. You can have it like if you were standing back from the camera, it would crop in on the 4K and then it would follow you around a little bit. That's pretty cool. Logitech ain't got nothing like that. But I'm not using that because I'm sitting right in front of it. Come over to more, you know, device going to sleep. Yeah, okay. Gesture control. This is something I say for all of these things. OBSBOT tail air, these guys, turn off the gesture control, because how many shows have, I don't know if you've seen some of the shows that you've seen me do, where I hold my hand out like this to gesture, and next thing you know, it says, oh, you wanted me to zoom in. No, I didn't want you to, oh, you wanted me to track. No, I don't, stop. So I turn these off. I mean, I can see in certain cases where it's one camera in front of a classroom, and you wanted to be able to like zoom it in, zoom it out, and things like that. Then you would leave those active for whomever's going to walk in and do a recording. But if you're doing a production and you don't want people like me who talk with their hands a lot to, be talking like this, and then all of a sudden, auto framing, we just got turned on because I went like this. You can turn those off in the software. Microphone status during sleep, on or off. Noise reduction, strong, auto gain. Now, I'm not using the microphone from the OBSBOT, and for whatever reason, when I plugged it into the computer, into vMix, which is what we're looking at right now, it did not detect audio. So there was no audio setting at all. I don't know, whatever. Mirror image, so you can flip it like that. There we go, a little bit slow. Indicator status, so this is that little LED that's on the front of it. You can turn it on or off. You can update the feedback, the firmware. You can provide feedback, etc., etc. Now, that is pretty much, that's fairly standard, very well laid out, very well done. One of the two of the several things that this software really does stand out is the fact that up here at the top, do you see how I have 4 cameras? Now, this OBSBOT software actually has a virtual camera output. So if you plugged in multiple cameras and you wanted to use it to switch between camera 1 and camera 2, camera 1 and camera 2, apparently my device is sleeping. We'll wake it up. I did not tell you to sleep. So where is that setting? Let's go over to more. Auto gain. No. Here's indicator status. Console. Auto framing is off. So this is the other camera that I just plugged in. HDR. Let's see. I can actually pan this up at me. Let's do that. It's a Bogen tripod that I don't really like. That's why it's here in Germany. So let's see how this looks. What I'm going to do is I am going to bring it in to right here. I'm going to come up here and then change. So this one has not been set up before the show. I hope this is the right one. Yep. And now this is the one what is the deal? Oh, it doesn't go back any further. Thanks. There we go. So this is the one I just plugged in. And it seems to have that same really fast focus. So I gotta admit, I'm really impressed with the autofocus. Auto exposure, let's go back to the Oh, I can't do it with this one. So anti-flicker, white balance. This is auto white balance, and this one actually looks good. So the white one, for whatever reason, that's this one. For whatever reason, the auto white, not as good. I don't know why. But this one, cut. There we go. This one is the new one. It is still warmer, and I could go in here and adjust it to around 4,000, which is where I put the other one. Eric mentions different lighting intensities and LED lights are slightly polarized. Yes, there's lots of different factors going into how each of these cameras sees the light I have coming off. And these are actually production lights. These are photodiox, LED lights, color accurate, high CRI, stepless dimming. And so that's what I'm using for this production. I didn't want to just have like room lights, so I actually have production lights here. And this is the second one, but what I ended up putting, here we go. So here you see my Logitech, Meet 1, Meet 2. Man, that focus is something to behold. And I hope. Okay, just making sure it didn't it didn't bring in the audio when I brought it into vMix. So it's not seeing audio with these cameras for whatever reason. Question comes in. Did you review the Osee GoStream 8? I did, because I believe I'm missing something. Osee and YOLO Live Extreme ISO. YOLO Live Extreme ISO is not a thing. Well, it's the YOLO Box Extreme ISO. But I did do the Osee, and if you were interested in it, you could go to the YouTube channel. Actually, it's not that far back. There it is. The complete overview is over here on the right. That is an hour and 45 minutes. It is it actually was 2 live shows in a row, compiled and shortened into an hour and 43. It goes all the way through it. This is before, not the most recent software update, which added some cool features, but the big update that allowed you to have all 8 hardware inputs. So that's where this 16 input video, the second one over here, that's where this show comes in. The 16 inputs is with the 2.0 software update, which made all of the hardware active at the same time. Because before that, it was either HDMI or SDI, one or the other. So there's 2 good videos to watch there. The long one, complete overview, and then the 16 inputs is the big update that gave you full hardware functionality. And technically, if they would do the update or the feature, or I recommend a little tweak to the way it works that would let you actually access 16 different inputs. And for those who were so inclined to check it out, you can have multiple inputs available on a particular channel. So like channel 5 could be HDMI or SDI or NDI or video playback. It could be any one of those things. And I had suggested, hey, you know what? Just let me double tap preview twice fast and toggle between those inputs. So I could have something on SDI and NDI and then switch between them. So tap, tap, SDI, go to it, come out. Tap, tap, NDI, go to it, come back out. So that was my idea. So that's kind of a faster way to get to all those inputs, because having 16 inputs connected to the switcher is pretty cool. Accessing them, that's the trick. The Meet 2 is small, just like the Rode mic. Wow, my mic just got smaller. Yes, I have to admit these things are incredibly small. I am very much surprised. Like let's do this again, and this one hopefully is the green one. Let's see. This one I have not opened. Oh wow, this one I really have not opened. And this one is sealed. So this one could actually be as they are packaged from the factory. Because the other ones I did not have to do that. There we go. Oh, yes! Look at that. So, here you see I like that color. I have to admit, I like that color. That is cute. That is very cute. Let us put it in comparison. What did I do with it? Here, Mevo Start. Let's move this out of the way. Mevo Start Meet 2. Now, admittedly, this is a battery-operated wireless, it does a whole lot of things. This is just a webcam, but still, it's very small. And comes with a little thing. There you go. Sits right on there. Hi, I'm happy to be here. And this one, instead of just a bag, has a little box that you gotta beat your way out of. So this is more representative of how they will be packed when purchased new. And then inside the box is the bag and another bag. There you go. So, and in the sealed bag this time is your USB-C cable with dongle. And here is the lens cap in another sealed bag. Honestly. So there you go. So when you're traveling and you want to protect it, I like that. I mean, and maybe, OBSBOT actually makes a set of filters for their tail AR camera already. Magnetic neutral density filters. They just click right on the front. Very lightweight. They don't affect the balance. They can still track and everything. Maybe we could start to see something like that for these little Meet cameras. So if you're going to use these outdoors, you can throw on an ND filter. So it's not, well, it doesn't have an iris, does it? No, I guess that's not as important. Whatever. I was just thinking. But maybe because you don't have to worry about balance and you do have the magnetic attachment, imagine a wide angle diopter. So if you wanted a super wide of a big auditorium, just click. Now you're super wide. If you wanted to add a little 2x telephoto, let me peel that off. If you want to add a little 2x telephoto to this, have one get a little closer. There you go, 2x telephoto. And now you're good to go. I think that would be really cool. Mint green. Yeah, it is kind of minty. And because I have this other camera up here, look. Even the little O is in green, which is pretty cool. Actually, let me go down to the little one on the bottom. Where's that little one? Fade. So it's mint green with a minty O for OBSBOT. But it can still see my face. That's the problem, because it's set on face focus. Let's put it on global. So minty, whereas the other ones are red, because OBSBOT, their whole thing is red, red. But this one is minty green. I like that. Minty green. Thank you very much for that. With that much equipment, is a setup order important? Very good question. Very good question. Very good question. Because now I am literally in front of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, this one's not on. 6 cameras. And you know what I'm going to do? I had actually set up a green cable for this. Let's go here. There it goes. And if we go to the quad split, I just need to go over to my camera 4 input. I am increasing CPU utilization every single time I add a USB camera. So I'm still around 80%, but every now and then it peaks at 100. And when I go to add this camera, it'll probably go ping 100 when I do it. So let's go this one. Okay. No, not that one. Change. Yeah. Well, which one do you think it is? No. The problem is they're all named the same. There it is. All right. So now I have all 4 cameras. Oh, look. Did it freak out the other 2? It looks like it did. Oh, because I grabbed them, so now I have to re-grab them. It would help if the Meet camera did not have every single camera named the exact same when it's connected. So now, because I grabbed those other inputs, they're divorced from the other. Let's see if I can do this. All right. That one. All right, so it moved now. And come down to this one and change the input to, here's hoping. Oh, I just moved it. Like I said, the problem is they're all named exactly the same. So now I come back down to cam 3. I say recapture input. Apologize for all this, but I didn't realize until I added the second one that, yay, there we go. Got it working. So now, four USB, actually technically 5 USB devices going. Because this camera is actually connected via USB through the Blackmagic. So these are all USB cameras. So now that I got that going, let's go to the quad. So now you can see, this is my setup. Here's the little camera. Here's the camera showing you the unboxing. There's my Logitech. There's a PTZ Optics. It stopped working. And there's the other, the white one that you haven't yet seen yet. And this is my workspace. So I'm mixing the show in vMix. I'm watching it in Restream. I go to all your comments in Restream. So Restream is really useful for that. And then down here's the other webpage I was looking at. And then just because we want to check this out, ooh, we are pushing the limit of this computer with this many USB connections. So this is setup order important? I don't even know which camera to look at. Yes and no. In general, like USB cameras, it's best to have all of these cameras connected to the computer before you launch your switching software of choice. But clearly, as I've done here, and I need to go to camera 3 and flip it, clearly I'm able to connect things at random at this point and have them work. Looking for the flip mirror image. Oh, there we go. Oh no, not that one. 2, 1. Interesting. It says both of these cameras are exactly the same. There we go. But you can see that I'm able to have all 4 of these cameras going, and I did not set them up ahead of time. I unboxed them here in front of you. I plugged them in ad hoc. I mean, I did have cables laid out ahead of time, but I did not have it all set up and running and then just casually click through like everything is super easy to do. I did all that in front of you so that you could see the process, so that you could see cable is pushing it around, so that you can see that you can actually do these things live if need to be. And give me one camera to look at. And that way you can spend your time focusing on the show and not so much about the gear. Because the gear, if you have got good gear and you've tested the process, then you should not have to worry about the gear. Yes, I would always make sure I connected my cameras to the computer before turning on vMix, because vMix sometimes does not see things if it's not there when it launches. And then you have to like quit and relaunch vMix, and that becomes an issue, especially if you're live in a show. But oddly enough, it seemed to work today because I created 2 blank cameras in the show so that I could do this quad split thing. I created 2 blank cameras ahead of time, and then I'm just populating that source, which is used in multiple places like the quad split. I'm populating and saying, go get that camera. And thankfully, vMix is seeing these other USB cameras that have been connected to the computer after vMix was launched. Not always the case with NDI devices or other things, as I found. Green Boater says, we'll check out your channel for gear advice. Absolutely. And one of the really cool things with having all the stuff on YouTube is there is this handy little search tool. So if you want to come up here and say search for OSEE, and you can search for Osee and see all the different videos about the Osee that I've done. So you can see like a little GoStream Duet hack, so that you can actually do picture-in-picture switching with one switcher. And come down here and see those. Or if you just want to see videos that I've done on the Extreme, you could do that. There you go. Here's the good or bad, Ultra versus the Extreme. Which one's the better tool? Here's the live show about the Box Extreme. So there's lots of different ways to get to the content you want without having to wade through it. Just use the search tool at the top of the bar. And if you like stuff that you see, share it on your channel, because that does me a solid and introduces the videos that I'm producing to people who might not have found them or know about them beforehand. So let's go back to videos. So I have the mint green one here, and as you can see, it's just USB, and I have this is a long cable. This is like a 10-foot cable. And it's still power enough for this camera to work so that I can point it and show you everything I got laying around, including my little StreamTek with the different channels. So if you were to do like a little podcast, having a couple of these in the center, looking out at each person, like that. So you have one little stand in the middle, and then one pointing at me, one pointing at them, one pointing at them, and then, hey, you got a long cable, have this one looking at the table from further away, and this one looks in and gives you that wide shot. So you've got your wide shot, you're shot one way, you're shot the other way, and remember, these are 4K. So if you're using a Box Ultra or Extreme, or if you're using vMix, like I'm using, you can bring them in 4K. And then crop in the software. So you've got your wide shot, closer shot, medium shot, wide shot, close shot. You can vary those shots in the software from this teeny little thing. And then, because you've got it in the computer, the thing you're not going to get if you use these OBSBOT cameras on even an OBSBOT Talent. I know they're made by the same company, but you get the software. Can I do this? Okay, just look at the left ones. You get this software as part of a computer setup. You get the ability to go through all of these different settings and really tweak the cameras to get them to show what you want them to show. Whereas if you're going to put this on a YOLO Box Extreme, or if you're going to put this on an OBSBOT Talent, see? That's what I'm talking about. Is it that one? That's an example of I'm just gesturing with my hand and it's like, oh, you want me to do something. No, I don't. And I don't know which one that is because they're all labeled the same. So when I hover, I have Meet 2, Meet 2 2, Meet 2 3. So you can't name them. And that would be one first firmware update, especially if somebody is going to want to buy more than one camera. Let the users name the cameras. So when you connect them up via USB, they have a distinct name. And when you use them in the software, they have a distinct name. So I can name them white, gray, and mint. And then when I go to the software and I hover my mouse, which for whatever reason it's not showing you, when I hover my mouse over this, it doesn't say Meet 2. And over here it says Meet 2. And over here it says Meet 2. It would say white, gray, mint. That would be my first recommended update for OBSBOT. USB-C, PD, or just 5 volt with such a long cable? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. This cable is a SAGMOC Amazon cable. I bought like a 12-pack. So it's not, it's not an Anchor, not, really high-end cable. I am stunned it's working, especially considering I have every single port on my Nook used. And one of those is a 3-foot, 1 meter USB 3 extension out to where I'm actually plugging this in. Wait, let me go back to the quad. So this is actually plugging in to an external hub. And then I've got this long cable that goes to this now aerial camera. So clearly not requiring PD power, because it's not PD power coming out of that little cable, but it is definitely providing enough power for the little camera to work beautifully, I might add, aside from the slow shutter. Beautifully. I'm getting a great image out of it. It's just HD as far as I know. And let me just double check that. If I go in, it's going to turn it off. I'm not going to double check it. It's just HD coming in as far as I know, because I did not plan on doing these in 4K. If you were going to use, what was it? Logitech came out with a 4K webcam, and it had a dedicated heavy-duty, USB 3 cable. But that was 3 years ago or more. We've gotten to the point where the electronics are more capable. The electronics can be made lower power and still deliver the goods, over a longer it is USB 3, but is not a PD port, and it's going through a USB hub, so I'm sure it's not PD at all. Could you use a USB-C to HDMI to connect to YOLO HDMI? You could. Yes. Those devices, however, need their own power because they have to provide power to both themselves to do the conversion and to the USB camera you're connecting. So they are going to need power coming into them, more power than is provided via HDMI. HDMI can provide a little bit of power. You know, if you've ever used fiber optic HDMI cables, that's power provided by the HDMI port is powering the optical converters on both ends. But definitely not enough power coming out of HDMI to power both the converter and the camera at the end of the cable. So keep that in mind. But yes, you could use USB-C to HDMI converters to get even more of these into a YOLO Box Extreme. Do you want 8 of these little cameras? You could probably do it. And YOLO themselves make a little camera now too. I didn't get one in time to bring along to do like a little head-to-head, but if you want to see that in a future show, let me know. And we could do that one in 4K. Put this one versus the OBSBOT Meet versus YOLO in 4K. And hey, you know what? We can maybe even throw in the bird dog little camera in 4K. Actually, that's a tease for next week's show. If you are a fan of Mevo, the Mevo cameras, if you are a fan of Mevo, these are great little cameras, and the one thing people have been begging for is optical zoom. Well, AVCans was nice enough to send along their little Mevo-like camera. Not unboxed yet. Be doing that next week. So this is basically their version of the Mevo, but with optical zoom. And just for kicks, we'll be throwing in the Maki Mini, Maki Live, the Maki Mini into the fray as well. And remember, both of these guys are, this is 4K, this is HD, this is 4K, this is 4K. And yes, that's my own handmade lens cap, because no lens cap on these things. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they do that. I really don't. But yes, that will be next week's show. As for these, if you can, like my CPU is at 80%, and that's because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 USB cameras connected. And USB is processor hungry. So it's not something that can it's not something that gets handled on the video chip. Actually, the video that I see on my GPU is the compression, and it has been the exact same 40% no matter how many webcams I hooked up. So I can tell you for a fact that on this computer, adding all of these webcams did not add an ounce of GPU usage. Actually, I have 2 GPUs. The internal Intel GPU, 0 usage. Hey, vMix, use the Intel too. But these are tiny, they're affordable, and they're 4K. The quality is good, but more so, it's the control panel. This control panel does a fantastic job giving you that detail. Which am I looking at? Gives you this detail control. And I didn't even get into some of the crazy stuff that this thing does. Like, first of all, like I was saying, you could use this to sub-switch a video into Restream. Restream will let you bring in multiple webcams, and then you can set up different scenes with it. Really cool. But if you don't have the CPU resources to have Restream do it, you can have this software do it. Right there. I can switch between cameras. And I believe this switches the virtual camera output. You know what? Let's test it. Let me go over to vMix. I'm going to add another input. I'm already at 80%. Let's add another input. Cancel. I'm going to add a camera. let's see if I have, does not see the virtual camera cancel. So let me come over here. That's power, right? Output. So, virtual camera, start virtual camera. Can you see this? No, you don't get this other screen? Oh well. There's a second screen that popped up, and after enabling the virtual camera, please select the OBSBOT virtual camera in the camera options of your video conferencing or live streaming software. Please note that the original camera video stream will be unavailable. Oh, okay, so it's going to cut off these, and it's all going to have to go through the OBSBOT software. So let me cut to this software, and let me say okay. And failed to start the virtual camera. Please close all the programs that may be using the original camera video stream and try again. Okay, so that is one of those examples of you need to have this set up before you launch the software. So I'm not going to quit vMix so that I could launch OBSBOT so that I could test it, but OBSBOT software would bring in those cameras, and you could do the switching in the OBSBOT software before it goes into whatever's next, just like I'm using vMix to do it. So I'm not going to do that. OBSBOT had USB cable, long, thin, 15 meters, 20 meters for an older camera. That is a long cable. So, what I was saying was, let me get back to here. We were talking about, these are the camera settings right up here. This is the output setting that I was just in. There's beauty. So let us, let me try this. 2, 3, no, that's not the one I want to do. Let's try this one. There we go. Okay, so this is me guessing which camera it is. So this is the camera I want to do the beauty on. So I'm going to say beauty. And then I'm going to say it's bringing up a second window. So you can't see the window. Smoothing. Retouch. Blur. We can blur things. So it's supposed to blur everything around me, which would be really handy for a green screen, right? We could retouch. Let's see if we can, let's just do makeup. Supposedly, I can add smoky eyes. Am I going to add smoky eyes to me? That'd be really cool if I could. Don't you think? I don't see smoky eyes. I did this in the test, and it worked really, really well. But now that I have multiple cameras selected, it's not doing it in the other windows, so it's interesting. It would just do it on the output. Let's see if I can recapture input, desktop capture. Did that work? I'm trying to capture the other OBSBOT window so that I could bring it in and show it to you. Color corrections. Nope. There it is. Yep. Nope. Not that one. No, it's not going to let me do it. So I apologize. I can't bring in that window without bringing in my whole screen, and my screen is a mess. So the beauty, which was right over here, and then was available right here is now being popped out to a second window. I don't know why. And even though I've selected the camera that I want to affect, it's not having any effect so that you can even see the effects like on me. So I apologize for that. Anyway, if you have any more questions about the OBSBOT cameras, feel free to throw them into the comments, because I think for the capability that you get with the software makes these a very interesting solution, with the caveat that you're going to have to connect them via USB. They're not HDMI cameras. But because you can connect them via USB, you can have this control over the camera in the computer. So you can have these cameras deployed out in the middle of the table. And then if you decide that, you know what, I think the exposure needs to come down, or you have someone with very dark skin, you can go in there and bring that exposure up. You know, you can go over to the image and say, you know what, let me just bring that exposure up just a little bit there, just to get a little bit more light into that camera. That is a really cool thing, to have that ability for all of the cameras that you have connected. So you can have 4 cameras connected and go between any of them and adjust the settings in each of those cameras. Very cool features, USB only, and very unlikely that you're going to be able to do all of this on anything other than a computer. So a computer is going to give you the horsepower for multiple USBs. It's going to give you the power over multiple USBs, like that. And it's going to give you the software control that then you can have that go into a software setup, so that you can use this to be able to switch your show and have it delivered via, either vMix directly or however you want to. You can even just record podcasts for later editing and then deliver the edited shows. That is going to be a great way to, I think, very affordably do a podcast setup in terms of multiple little cameras, fixed cameras. Again, you're not going to be zooming in and out with these things. But because you've got 4K, if you're going to use vMix, OBS, Wirecast, any of those tools, you're going to take in the 4K, and then you're going to be able to window it. Or possibly use the live adjustment software in here, so that somebody moves back, it'll zoom in, dynamically and follow them. Somebody leans in, it's going to, less cropping going on. Let me keep the framing good as the person moves around, and then you don't even have to worry about it. But if you want to have that creative control, then starting with a 4K source, like these little cameras deliver, starting with a 4K source and then being able to create crops of that you can then, cut between. Somebody's talking really serious about a story, you cut in a little bit, then something's really big and funny, you cut back to a wider shot. And you have all of those because you're starting with 4K and you're delivering an HD stream. That is a really cool thing. And one of the things that I was really excited to get a hold of these and show these to you. And they're very portable, which is why and how I'm able to do a show while I'm traveling, carrying 3 of these, because even in the boxes, they're not that big. Now, I wish they came with like a little zippered case like the Tail Air does. I really like the Tail Air case. And having a little zippered case for these, or even, hey, here's another suggestion, come up with a multi-pack. 4 cameras in one nice little zippered case. Mint. Give us a strawberry one too. That would be my recommendation. What other flavor would you like to see? Mint, strawberry, maybe a purple one. We got white, we got gray. I don't know, the gray is dark enough. I don't think we need a black one, but definitely there's room for other flavors with these cameras, and having a multi-pack box, just like Mevo. Where's the Mevo at? Just like the Mevo was sold in a 3-pack. That's really smart, because if one camera is good, more cameras is better, right? I mean, hey, look at this. This is actually a little microphone case, little Catifo microphone, a little zippered case, hard shell. You know, you could kind of almost imagine multiple OBSBOT Meet cameras stored in something just like this, but having a whole multi-camera kit in a box like this would, I think, be an awesome solution. And now back over here. So, the software recognizes the camera, not the USB port. Yes, the USB, it's a UVC standard. So it's a universal video command, or UVC is a universal. As long as the device presents itself as a UVC device, you can load it into Restream, Teams, Zoom, vMix, whatever you want. The downside is, as a UVC device, what it's doing is it's compressing the software in here, whether MJPEG or MPEG, and then the data is coming along here, and then the CPU has to decode it back into video. So unlike a video capture device that is going to give you HDMI directly, and it's going to give you uncompressed HDMI frames into vMix, that's great, because then your CPU doesn't have to do all that thinking. It's already got full frames. It just needs to mix it. The CPU in the computer has to do the decoding to get you to having the video frame that you're going to use in the show. That's why these are such CPU hogs. And to give you an example of, where we are right now, that's where we are right now, 83, 87%. And my computer is just sitting there chugging away. Now, I'm not using a lot of memory, and my GPU is still at 38%, but here we are chugging away, and it's all CPU. The more cameras I add, the more CPU I have. Here, let's do a test. What I'm going to do is I am going to unplug one of the cameras. And then we are going to that's funny. It actually went up. I'm at 90 some percent now. And that's after I yanked out one of the cameras. Oh my goodness. 100%. Yeah, you don't want to be running your computer at 100%. So let's see if I take out two. What it's going to do is it's going to tax the computer, because the computer doesn't know what to do. And if I go to my quad split, you'll see that two cameras, those are the last frames from those cameras. I still have the OBSBOT up here, but the other two are gone. And my CPU is still at 100%. So I think it doesn't know what to do, and disconnecting those cameras while live and part of a show was not the smartest thing. But hey, stuff happens, and I'm willing to give it a shot during the show to see what happens for you. But if we're going to be, is there any way to make cameras? Is there any way to make camera settings adjustments once plugged into the Magewell D1? No. They do offer a remote. Let me walk that back a little bit. OBSBOT does offer a remote. Let me go to Meet 2. I've got the website right here, of course. Oh, it's one of these very dynamic I'm hoping it shows the remote. Yeah, there's the makeup settings. So you see how it's in this window right here? That is not what I could not get that to happen. But you see they only have one camera connected, and that's the difference. With one camera connected, the beauty showed up over there. And these windows are taking a little bit to load. So there's the accessory. So there's the remote. And it does not look like zoom, and I think it's basically going to let you turn on and off tracking. Now, I see a USB dongle here. What that might mean is that the remote talks to the computer, and then the computer relays that command to the device, which doesn't necessarily help if you don't have a computer to relay that command. And when I click on it, it does, it's just showing what's in the big window. So it doesn't, there's no more information than what's there. Designed exclusively for the OBSBOT Meet series. So there is a remote. I don't think it's going to help you in terms of trying to use them on the Magewell D1 or the Mini. And the Magewell offers two USB ports, USB-A ports, and there's a USB-C port. There's been discussion about the fact that you could leverage that, like for another modem, or possibly maybe even a third camera. I don't know. I haven't tried it. That'd be something worth trying out. And it would be interesting. But again, without a computer, you can't run the computer software to affect the settings of the camera. Now that I have one connected, I bet you, nope. It won't put that window in here. Very interesting. So again, I was kind of hoping now, since I only have one camera connected, oh no, it still thinks they're connected? No, they're not. Here, let's launch it again. And yeah, that's not going to work. So anyway, I'm not able to show you the beauty panel because now that I've put two camera inputs up here, it thinks that there's two camera inputs up here for whatever reason. And it keeps out to another window. So I think with that, I'm going to draw this show to a close. Cody says, I've got that combo and used it once and liked it. I could not find a way to adjust the settings. Yeah, that's the downside. And as far as I know, like with Logitech, I have been able to use the Logi software, adjust the white balance and things like that, and then save it, and then take that camera and put it somewhere else or have it boot up again, and it would remember those settings. I've tried that with the Meet series yet, so I don't know if I can go in there and say, turn off all the no gesture control, manual white balance, face tracking, and set all those things, and then plug it into something that does not do that. That's definitely worth another show to try those out and use these on one of the all-in-one tablets as opposed to in a full vMix computer, high-end setup like I have here. That would be, proof is in the pudding. Let's take a couple of these OBSBOTs and run them with the talent. That'll have to wait till I get back to the studio in Texas. So, hey, that is definitely worth a test and worth a show, I think. Ooh, anyway, I have a title. My name is Anthony Brokus. I am the StreamTek head guru here. Well, actually, I'm traveling. And I thank all of you for being here for today's show. And as always, like, subscribe if you're on the YouTube channel. If you're watching on LinkedIn, feel free to hunt it down on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, there's a Facebook page for the StreamTek channel, so you can, like like that page as well and be notified for every show and every video that comes up. Till next time, thanks for watching.